Let's talk about dust collection and how to regulate it. This is part 9 of the Harbor Freight Blast Cabinet series. Here are 2 more Tacoma Company upgrades. The flow meter, which mounts on top of your cabinet to allow you to monitor and adjust negative vacuum pressure, and the vacuum wastegate, which mounts to your vacuum, and your vacuum hose, which allows you to adjust the amount of vacuum your vacuum's pulling. I'll show you several different mounting options for this and how all this works together in adjusting and maintaining the correct negative vacuum pressure inside your cabinet. First, let's talk about vacuums. You can use your current Shop Vac that you already have, but I opted for a dedicated vacuum for my blast cabinet. This is the vacuum the Tacoma Company recommends, and let me explain why. It's very important that I mention that a Shop Vac was never intended to be a dust collection system for a blast cabinet. It is the most cost-effective option as long as you regulate the negative vacuum pressure correctly. Now, I have the recommended vacuum sitting next to my 6 horsepower rigid Shop Vac, which I use every day. Great vacuum for the shop. Way too powerful for what we're trying to accomplish with the blast cabinet. This is a 3.5 horsepower 6 gallon. But what's important about this little guy, it has the same large filter as the big one, and it also has the 2.5 inch hookup here. Although this vacuum comes with the smaller hose, that's one additional item you're going to have to pick up if you choose this vacuum to upgrade to the 2.5 inch vacuum, which fits the vacuum with no problem. This small vacuum is more than enough to be able to pull the dust out of your blast cabinet. If you choose to use your normal Shop Vac, as you see here, the vacuum wastegate works just fine here as well. Like I mentioned before, this little 6 gallon vac has the same filter setup as my 14 gallon 6 horsepower vac. Now, I prefer to use the dust collection bags inside my vacuum, which extends the life of the filter. It becomes costly after a while because if we're collecting dust from that blast cabinet, it's going to fill up pretty quick. So your other option is to go without a dust collection bag and have to clean your pleated filter. Tacoma Company is working on an inner screen for that size filter, which prevents the pleats from sucking in once the filter gets a little bit clogged from blast media. It wants to suck them pleats in and pull them together. So they're working on an inner core screen that prevents that. The flow meter comes included with 3 1024 socket cap screws. They're very flexible neoprene vacuum line. Now let me discuss some mounting options. If you have the deluxe single or the deluxe double light kit, the recommended location is dead center, about 1 inch down from the back edge. You need to route your rubber hose to the right corner. You never want the intake hose to be anywhere near the blast zone. You always want it back away from where all the blasting is going on. There's one mounting option, and that's in front of your light housing and above the window frame. It can also be mounted up tight, flush on the light housing. Once you get your flow meter mounted in the optimal position, use the included mounting hardware to route your hose to the back right corner. You want to keep a nice flowing curve here, but get it back in that corner out of the blast zone. A little test before I mount the hose. I have the blast cabinet pulled out from the wall, and I want to show you this as a demonstration that I have the vacuum all connected to the vacuum wastegate, to the wastegate elbow on the cabinet, and look at all this excess hose. I will share with you a Tacoma Company trick to resolve this excess hose issue. We're going to shorten this 2.5 inch hose and remove 32 inches of it for 2 reasons. One, it's going to give us a little bit more performance with our vacuum, and 2, it's going to really neaten things up behind the cabinet. I removed the vacuum plug, which presses into here. This same end plugs into either port, either side, the vacuum and or the wastegate. When this hose end is inserted in the end of the hose here, it only goes this far and it leaves this last rib exposed. Now if you look real close, you're going to see this last rib has a taper to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the base of that taper and we're going to cut right here and remove this end, and then we're going to cut our hose to our desired length, which I'm going to remove 32 inches of this part of the ribbed hose, and we're going to pop this over one of these ribs, and that's going to securely hold it. It doesn't need any glue, tape, or anything. Here's the end, and once you have a nice clean cut all the way around, we're going to go ahead and now cut the section out of the hose. I have it marked here where I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to just go in between two of these ribs and just follow the edge of the rib all the way around. We now have our nice clean cut. Push this over that end. The end's back on, and let me see if I can show you the inside here. You have one rib basically locked into this angled taper right here, and it's on there pretty good. I mean, got the end pushed back on, so we have a much cleaner look here. The hose flows nice and smoothly now, and we're going to get a little better performance. Look at that nice clean installation. Now you're probably thinking by now, when are we going to install a dust deputy? You won't be needing this at all. If you follow the steps that we did in this video, you will have a very good adjustable dust collection system with no need for extra anything except what I showed you in the video. Now before we go over there and turn on the vacuum and fire up the gun, make all that noise, I want to explain how to adjust the system. Both wastegates, the vacuum wastegate and the wastegate elbow connected to the back of the cabinet, are going to be wide open. Now remember, our fresh air intake is wide open with the baffle box installed on the inside, and we have the top of the baffle box on the rear panel closed off to where our vacuum's hooked up. We're going to run 40 psi to the gun, full pedal, cabinet door shut, both wastegate valves wide open. Then we're going to start tuning the wastegate valves while we're monitoring the meter, and we want to get that meter in its sweet spot. Notice the meter has this handy level. It's important that the bubbles in between the two lines and level, or the meter will not read correctly. You'll notice I have 40 psi with the pedal fully depressed, going to the blast gun. I'm going to keep the camera focused on the meter. You'll see the meter moving as I'm adjusting the wastegates. In this demonstration, I'm going to fire it up and I'm just going to open the doors. Notice the difference from not pressurizing the cabinet with the foot pedal and just running the vacuum? That's how temperamental and important the negative vacuum pressure is inside your cabinet. Once you get it adjusted, you'll have optimal performance, dust collection, and you won't be pulling all the media out of your cabinet. As a closing note, always remember to clean and maintain your dust collection system for optimal performance. This is a wrap for part 9. Feel free to leave your comments, questions, and I appreciate you follow along the series. So until next time, see ya.